And welcome back to the committee, the gentleman from Washington State, Mr. Newhouse, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Craig, and thank you for allowing me to be back on your great committee. I also want to thank the witnesses for traveling to Washington, D.C. and providing us with your testimony today. I really do look forward to working together with everybody in this room to figure out some of the solutions to the challenges that we have in agriculture today. We truly have a crisis. You know, I'm a third-generation farmer. My son's the fourth generation. We are specialty crop growers in the state of Washington. Hops, wine grapes, cherries, pears. From firsthand experience, we and I know that high input costs and low prices are a recipe for disaster, and it would be probably the biggest understatement we'd hear today to say that times are tough. So we need some solutions to these challenges. And just to help illustrate that, a recent survey conducted of apple growers in the state of Washington, which maybe you've heard of apples from Washington, but labor costs increased 127% over the last 10 years, while grower returns have only increased by 22% in that same time period. Similarly, the survey showed that labor costs ate up 70% of grower returns before input costs were paid for the 22 crop. And then get this, in 23, that number rose to 99% of the 23 crop. So I totally want to look forward to working with you, particularly you, Mr. Talley, and the Specialty Crop Farm Bill Alliance as we tackle some of these things. The Farm Workforce Modernization Act is a high priority of mine, and we do need to get a handle on making sure that the H-2A program is not the reason for farms' demise, but certainly the reason that they can exist and find adequate and legal labor. I just wanted to, you mentioned this a little bit, Mr. Talley, but I would like you to talk a little bit more about some of the things that we could invest in. Mechanization of specialty crops, you mentioned, as being a viable offset to high labor costs. What are some of the other things that maybe we could look at as far as research is concerned that might help in this space?
I would say, other than mechanization, it would be crop protection products. We've lost a lot of our crop protection products over the years. A lot of times what ends up happening with us is that we have large companies that produce a product that will serve corn, soybeans, and then if it just happens to fall into the specialty category, if they can kind of just get it in, they'll go ahead and go ahead and register it. And California now, it's more and more difficult to register pesticide products, and the barrier of entry is pretty high. And so we're suffering in California just due to a lack of efficient products in our arsenal. And I would say that's probably next to mechanization. That's going to be the next concern that we have, especially crop.
Great, thank you very much. I want to move to you, Dr. Newton. Thank you for being here. It's a little difficult to understand Arkansasism, but we're getting through that. We produce a lot of crops in Washington State that are exported, and so foreign markets, as in California, are very important as well, all over the country. You mentioned in your testimony the importance of trade programs like the Market Access Program, the Foreign Market Development Programs. Could you speak a little more about some of the impacts those programs have had, and by doubling the amount that we invest in those, what they may offer to the agricultural industry?
Absolutely, and the accent you hear is actually Kentucky, not Arkansas. But you know, the 67% of our agricultural exports go to our top 6 markets. So when you think about the MAP and FMD funding, doubling that allows farmers and their cooperators to go out around the world and find new markets for our agricultural products, develop relationships with those customers so that we can continue to grow our export opportunities.
Good. And just so fellow members on the committee know, I've introduced legislation to do exactly that, double the investments in those 2 programs. And again, thank you all to the witnesses today for your testimony. Mr. Chairman, with that, I'll yield back.